Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. My name is Hana Nabila binti Mat Nasruddin.
Hi, my name is Norazira binti Afizal
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nusratina Mika Executive Mika.
from KAC104A, and we are from
Group 1.
Movement Control Order has been implemented by Malaysia since the month of March, and I can see that everyone and every sector of economy has been affected ever since. So today I am going to start this video presentation by discussing about how Malaysia's economy's performance has been affected due to the crisis of COVID-19 in export. But before that, I am going to briefly explain to you guys about what is export. Export is something to be brought or to be shipped to other country to be sold or to be traded. The top 5 product or goods Malaysia export to another country is electrical machinery, mineral fuel including oil, machinery including computer, animal or vegetable fat, oil, waxes, optical and medical apparatus. For your information, during this pandemic, Malaysia also has been helping other countries in fighting COVID-19 by exporting goggles and gloves. So you must be wonder, to which country does Malaysia export this product and goods to? So the top 5 countries that Malaysia export the most is China, Singapore, United States, Hong Kong and Japan. And these could also engage in diplomatic relationship between Malaysia and other countries. Without further ado, let's get into our topic. So, as I mentioned earlier, everyone and every sector of economy has been affected, and export were likely to be affected too. So, the research has shown a mixed result in export if you compare between the product. For example, products like electric and electronic product and as well as liquefied natural gas have shown a positive growth during the observation, while the metal and crude petroleum has decreased ever since. And for your information, the total volume exports that sent to China was also decreased because of the COVID-19. So why does this happen? This is caused by the disruption to regional and supply-demand chain. A demand-driven supply chain is defined as a supply chain management method focused on building supply chain in response to demand signals. A demand-driven supply chain is a process where raw material will be sent to the factory to be processed and to be sent to the manufacturing warehouse, then lastly to the retail warehouse. And if there is a demand from the store, the information will flow from the store to the retail warehouse, and retail warehouse will flow the product which is a supply to the store to be sent it to the customer. This approach uses a demand pull approach that allows for a real-time calibration without any delay, and this could increase in the demand. And the supply-demand chain process has been interrupted. The interruption in the supply chain would adversely affect Malaysia and expected to fall on sectors like electronic and automotive, which are highly integrated with the global market through regional supply chain. Other than that, the national social distancing measure has also affected export, as production operations are halted, except the essential product. And also, the result of factory closure is underutilization of capacity has always been a problem in the manufacturing industry. This mixed impact by the export has caused a loss due to the pandemic. Malaysia's export is expected to decline by 13.6% in 2020, and the loss of production and export accounted from just manufacturing sector for the first 14 days of the MCO is forecast at RM 64.6 billion and RM 32 billion respectively, and this will result in changes in GDP. Domestic product, or we call it as GDP, is a broad measurement of nations' overall economic activity, and export are important components of the expenditure methods of the GDP. This is because export were one of the figure in calculating the GDP as above the formula. And by that, we can conclude that export is directly proportional to GDP. As export increase, GDP will also be increased, and as export decrease, GDP also will be decreased. In our case right now, our export is declining. So that means it will also affect the economy in unemployment rate, a lower standard of living, and there will also be a decrease in exchange reserve held in the nation's bank. And that's all from me. I'm going to pass the next topic, which is investment, to Hana Nabila.
Okay, so we all know that COVID-19 has greatly impacted our economic sectors, trade in export, and now we are going to look about the impact of COVID-19 on investment. So the issue that we have here is loss in investment domestically and internationally results in negative impact in manufacturing sectors, non-essential industries, and contribute to the higher unemployment rate in 2020. This negative impact will eventually contribute to contraction in economic growth and decrease in Malaysia GDP in 2020. So to further explain, I quoted this from Harian Metro from Professor Madya Dr. Noor Adli Rizwan. He said that loss on investment cannot be measured precisely yet since we are still dealing with COVID-19, but it is approximately we has lost 303 billion ringgit from stock exchange market, which is portfolio investment, and this is due to uncertainty of both domestic and foreign investors in investing in our stock exchange market due to COVID-19. Secondly, decrease in investment will also contribute to decrease in GDP. Okay, so according to Bank Negara Malaysia, our economic growth is expected to see contraction of -2% at its maximum and growth only at 0.5%, which is very low at its best in 2020 compared to 4.3% in 2019. So according to BNM also, Malaysia's GDP for the first half of 2020 only grew at 0.7% from the previous period, and this is the lowest rate recorded ever since the third quarter of 2009, which was at -1.1%. Okay, so now moving on to the graphic that I extracted from Mida's website. Okay, impact on impact on investment from COVID-19. So firstly, global FDI percentage will range around -30% to 40%, which indicates there will be a huge decrease in FDI rate to Malaysia in 2020 and also 2021. Moving on to manufacturing sector, total approved investment from January to February 2020 decreases by 5.25%. From the same period last year, which was January and February 2019 due to COVID-19 pandemic. Also, in manufacturing sectors, there are 1,015 projects yet to be implemented, remain uncertain due to COVID-19 and MCO. These 1,015 projects are expected to contribute approximately 158.46 billion ringgit investment. This concludes that COVID-19 pandemic creates uncertainty in Malaysia's investment activities, which in future may lead to decrease in economic growth. Next, in 2019, there were 2,327 projects in non-essential sectors by the year ended 31st December, and there were only 1,683 projects from 2,327 projects that have been implemented with an investment value of 62.49 billion. And due to COVID-19 outbreak, these projects are facing negative effects due to MCO because workers are restrained and not allowed to work during those periods, leaving projects to be dormant. Out of 2,327 projects approved, there are still 644 projects that have not been implemented and remain unclear regarding the implementation due to pandemic. This investment value are approximately to be 76.6 billion ringgit. Imagine we are about to lose this huge amount of investment. And next, current rate of not implemented projects are at 4.8% and are expected to increase, and we can infer that Malaysia are losing more investment in the near future due to the pandemic. Regarding decrease in investment, decrease in investment will also affect job opportunities. Job opportunity will also experience a contraction, which leads to an increase in employment rate, and it is expected that employment rate will increase by 0.7%, and this rate might be even higher. So according to Malaysian Institute of Economic Research, MIER, it is predicted that 951,000 to 2.4 million jobs would be lost due to pandemic COVID-19, and the contributing factors to this issue are the uncertainty projects to be implemented and the implementation of MCO, which has caused job retrenchment and dismissal. As a conclusion, decrease in investment will give negative impact to a lot of related sectors such as manufacturing. Loss in investment will also cause increase in unemployment rate, which will subsequently lead to decrease in economic growth, as resources are not being used effectively, and in the end will lead to decrease in GDP. So that's all from me. I pass the presentation to Tina. Thank you.
Macroeconomic of as a branch of economy that study decision making for economy as a whole. It study about overall level of economy such as determination of national income, aggregate consumption and investment, inflation, unemployment and international trade. Covid-19 pandemic gives a serious impact to the world and it affect the global economy. So the world needs to study and make a decision for their economy. So today we will see how the spreading of COVID-19 give impact to the performance of the Malaysian economy in terms of trade. Let's see the issue that arise from trade due to COVID-19. The issue is the impact to performance of Malaysian economy due to spreading of COVID-19 pandemic is it has a mixed impact on Malaysian trade. Now, we will discuss about the issue. First, we need to know what the meaning of the trade. International trade is defined as an exchange of goods and services between one country and another country. It represents a significant share of gross domestic product, or known as GDP. So, the next thing that we need to know about international trade is about import and export. Import is a product that bought from a global market, while export is a product that is sold to the global market. GDP, known as C plus I plus G plus X minus N. Y means GDP, C means consumption, I means investment, G means government, X minus M means net export. X minus M represent as export minus import. Okay, now we assume that C, I and G are constant. A drop in a net export causes a drop in Malaysian GDP. However, if the drop in net export is lesser than a drop in net import, the GDP drop will be significant. Now, we will see how the COVID-19 pandemic affect the trade in Malaysian economy. As we all know, almost all countries in this world have taken precaution steps by lock down their country in order to stop the spreading of COVID-19. International Monetary Fund has declared that lockdown measures may cause the world economy to undergo a recession. International Monetary Fund say that the global economic crisis will certainly affect the Malaysian trade. The World Bank has also predicted that Malaysian trade will be affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. It said that the net export in Malaysia is predicted to drop by 3.9% this year. Now, we will see the summary of Malaysian trade for the year 2020 first quarter and year 2019 fourth quarter. As you can see, this is a summary of Malaysian monthly trade 2020 for first quarter January, February, March, and summary of Malaysian monthly trade 2019 for December, November, and October. So in this, you can see the total export for the fourth quarter 2019 and first quarter 2020. So as you can see the table that I provided for you earlier, you can see that there are increase and decrease that happen throughout the month for the first quarter year 2020 and the fourth quarter year 2019. Next, you can see the difference between the first quarter year 2020 and the fourth quarter year 2019. There are decrease in export and import. This lead to the decrease in the total trade. You can see the total export is higher than total import. This is a good sign as it leads to trade surplus for both quarter year. The level of uncertainty in the growth of trade in Malaysia continue with the outbreak of COVID-19 due to disruption of supply chains, social distancing policy, production stoppage, slowdown in foreign direct investment, and rise in the trade protectionism. Even though there are decrease in export and import, the balance of the trade is still positive and it leads to the Malaysian trade surplus. This shows how the COVID-19 pandemic gave impact in Malaysian economic performance in terms of trade. So it is true that this COVID-19 has a mixed impact in Malaysian trade. The increase and decrease in net export or investment will determine whether the GDP is increased or decreased.